Good morning, my friends. I'm Dr. Richard Caldwell, and at 87 years old, I've seen enough medical emergencies that began in bathrooms to fill a dozen textbooks. After 45 years of treating elderly patients here in the Southwest, I need to share something with you that might save your life or the life of someone you love. What I'm about to tell you goes against everything you've been taught about cleanliness and hygiene. But I promise you, every word is backed by decades of medical experience and heartbreaking reality. Daily bathing, that ritual we've been told is essential for good health, may actually be one of the most dangerous activities seniors engage in every single day. Before you dismiss this as the ramblings of an old doctor, let me tell you about Martha Henderson. Martha was 78. A retired schoolteacher who prided herself on her immaculate appearance. Every morning at exactly 7 a.m., she would draw herself a hot bath, just as she had for 60 years. The ritual was sacred to her lavender bath salts, her grandmother's soap, 15 minutes of soaking followed by a thorough scrubbing. It was her meditation, her moment of peace before facing each day. On a particularly cold February morning, I received the call that changed everything. Martha's neighbor found her unconscious on her bathroom floor, the bathtub still full of cooling water, her body hypothermic, and her hip shattered from the fall. As I knelt beside her in that sterile emergency room, watching machines monitor her failing vital signs, she whispered something that still haunts me. "Doctor, I just wanted to be clean." Martha survived, but she never walked again. That daily bath, that innocent 15-minute ritual cost her everything. Her independence, her dignity, her ability to live in the home she'd cherished for 40 years. All because nobody had ever told her that the aging body processes heat, cold, and balance in ways that transform a simple bath into a potential death trap. You see, when we reach our golden years, our bodies undergo profound changes that most of us aren't even aware of. The temperature regulation system that kept us comfortable for decades begins to fail. Our blood vessels don't respond to temperature changes the way they used to. Our blood pressure fluctuates wildly when we transition from hot water to cool air. Most critically, our inner ear, that miraculous organ that maintains our balance, begins to send confused signals to our brain. Especially when we're moving from sitting to standing in a slippery, humid environment. The statistics are staggering, and I wish more families knew them. According to the Centers for Disease Control, over 300,000 seniors are hospitalized each year due to bathroom-related injuries. Of these, 65% occur during or immediately after bathing. The mortality rate for hip fractures in adults over 80 is 25% within the first year. Let me say that again, 1 in 4 seniors who break their hip in a bathroom fall will not live to see the next year. But the dangers go far beyond the immediate risk of falling. Let me tell you about Harold Jameson, a 82-year-old retired rancher, who came to see me complaining of persistent dizziness and what he called spells. Harold was tough as leather. The kind of man who'd worked cattle in 100-degree heat and never complained about anything more serious than a headache. "Doc," he said, settling into the chair across from my desk with the careful movements of someone who no longer trusted his own body, "I can't figure out what's wrong with me. Every morning around 9, I get so dizzy I have to sit down for half an hour. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to pass out. My daughter thinks I'm having mini strokes." As we talked, I learned that Harold had been maintaining his lifelong habit of taking a hot shower every morning at 8:30, followed by a shave and getting dressed. The timing wasn't coincidental. What Harold was experiencing was orthostatic hypotension, a dramatic drop in blood pressure that occurs when hot water dilates the blood vessels. Then cool air causes them to constrict rapidly. For a younger person, this might cause a moment of lightheadedness. For Harold, it was causing near-fainting episodes that left him vulnerable and frightened. The solution was surprisingly simple. We reduced his shower frequency to every other day, lowered the water temperature, and limited his shower time to 5 minutes. Within 2 weeks, Harold's spells disappeared completely. He could hardly believe that something as simple as adjusting his bathing routine could solve a problem that had been terrifying him for months. "You mean I was making myself sick by trying to stay clean?" he asked during our follow-up visit, shaking his head in amazement. "Doc, why doesn't anybody tell us these things?" That's exactly why I'm here talking to you today. The medical community has failed to educate seniors about these risks because we've been so focused on treating diseases that we've forgotten to prevent accidents. We talk endlessly about cholesterol and blood pressure, but we rarely discuss the everyday activities that pose the greatest immediate danger to our elderly patients. Physiological changes that make daily bathing dangerous for seniors are complex but understandable. As we age, our skin becomes thinner and more fragile. The natural oils that once protected us diminish dramatically. Daily washing with soap and hot water strips away what little protective barrier remains, leaving our skin vulnerable to infection, irritation, and breakdown. Dr. Sarah Chun's research at the University of Arizona documented this phenomenon in a groundbreaking study of 2,400 seniors over 5 years. Those who bathed daily showed 340% higher rates of skin infections, particularly cellulitis and fungal infections, compared to those who bathed every 2 to 3 days. The constant cycle of wetting and drying, especially with harsh soaps and hot water, creates microscopic cracks in the skin that serve as entry points for bacteria. I saw this firsthand with Eleanor Vasquez, a 79-year-old grandmother who developed a stubborn leg infection that wouldn't heal despite multiple courses of antibiotics. Eleanor was meticulous about hygiene. She showered every morning and evening, scrubbing vigorously with antibacterial soap because she believed it would prevent infection. The irony was heartbreaking. Her diligent cleaning routine was actually creating the conditions that allowed dangerous bacteria to take hold. "Mrs. Vasquez," I told her during one of our appointments, "your skin is crying out for mercy. Every time you scrub with that harsh soap, you're creating tiny wounds that bacteria love. Your body is trying to heal, but you're washing away its natural defenses twice a day." When Eleanor reluctantly agreed to shower only every 3rd day and switched to a gentle moisturizing cleanser, her chronic infection finally began to heal. It took months to undo the damage, but eventually her skin regained its integrity. The lesson was clear. Sometimes the cure is less, not more. Temperature regulation becomes increasingly problematic as we age because our bodies lose the ability to maintain stable core temperatures. The hypothalamus, our internal thermostat, becomes less responsive. Blood vessels don't constrict and dilate as efficiently. Our sweating response diminishes and our shivering response weakens. This means that the shock of hot water followed by cool air can send our bodies into crisis. I remember treating Janet Morrison, an 81-year-old artist who collapsed in her bathroom on a December morning. When the paramedics found her, her core body temperature had dropped to 94 degrees, dangerously hypothermic. She'd taken her usual hot bath, but the combination of winter air and her body's compromised temperature regulation system had triggered a medical emergency. "I felt fine in the bathtub," Janet told me later from her hospital bed. "It was warm and relaxing, just like always. But when I stood up to get out, it was like someone flipped a switch. I started shivering uncontrollably, my vision went dark. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up here." Janet's experience illustrates why bathroom design and bathing habits become crucial safety factors for seniors. Her bathroom, like many built decades ago, lacked proper heating. The temperature differential between the hot bathwater and the cold bathroom air was enough to overwhelm her aging cardiovascular system. The psychological aspect of daily bathing among seniors is equally important to understand. For many of our generation, daily bathing represents more than hygiene. It's a symbol of self-respect. independence and dignity. We grew up during times when cleanliness was literally considered next to godliness, when skipping a bath was a sign of giving up on yourself. I've counseled hundreds of families struggling with this issue. Adult children worry about their parents' safety, while their parents cling to bathing routines that represent their last vestige of autonomy. The conversations are often emotional and charged with deeper meanings than simple hygiene. "Doctor," said Robert Chun during a family meeting, his voice tight with frustration, "my father insists on taking a bath every single day, even though he can barely get in and out of the tub. He's fallen twice in the last month, but he won't listen to us. He says we're treating him like a child." I understood both perspectives. Robert's 84-year-old father, Lin, had maintained the same morning routine for 70 years. In his mind, reducing his bathing frequency was tantamount to surrendering his dignity, admitting defeat to old age. For Lin, that daily bath was proof that he was still capable, still in control of his own life. These conversations require tremendous sensitivity because they touch on fundamental issues of autonomy, dignity, and aging gracefully. The solution isn't to strip away all independence, but to find compromise positions that preserve safety while respecting the psychological needs of our seniors. The medical evidence supporting reduced bathing frequency for seniors continues to grow. A comprehensive study published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society followed 3,200 adults over age 70 for 8 years, tracking bathing habits and health outcomes. The results were striking. Participants who bathed every 3 days showed 45% fewer emergency room visits for falls, 38% lower rates of skin infections, and reported better overall quality of life scores compared to daily bathers. More surprisingly, the less frequent bathers also showed better social engagement scores. When researchers investigated this finding, they discovered that seniors who weren't exhausted from daily bathing routines had more energy for social activities, exercise, and hobbies. The time and energy saved from excessive hygiene rituals was redirected toward activities that actually improved health and longevity. Dr. Michael Torres, who led the research team, noted something particularly interesting. We found that many seniors were spending 45 minutes to an hour each day on bathing and related activities. When we helped them develop more efficient routines, they gained back 5 to 7 hours per week that they could spend on exercise, socializing, or pursuing interests. The health benefits were immediate and dramatic. This research aligns with what I've observed in my own practice. Patients who reduce their bathing frequency often report feeling more energetic, less anxious about bathroom safety, and more confident in their daily activities. The fear of falling during bathing can be so pervasive that it affects a senior's entire quality of life, making them hesitant to engage in other activities. Consider the case of Dorothy Williams, a 76-year-old widow who had become increasingly reclusive after a minor slip in her bathtub left her with a bruised tailbone. Though she wasn't seriously injured, the incident shattered her confidence. She began bathing less frequently out of fear, but instead of feeling better, she became depressed and isolated because she felt dirty and unkempt. "I couldn't find the balance," Dorothy explained during our consultation. "If I bathed every day, I was terrified of falling. If I didn't bathe every day, I felt disgusting and didn't want anyone to see me. I stopped going to church, stopped visiting friends. I felt trapped." Working with Dorothy, we developed a personalized bathing schedule that prioritized her safety while addressing her psychological needs. She would take a full bath twice a week, with quick wash-ups on alternate days, focusing only on essential areas. We installed safety equipment in her bathroom and taught her techniques for safe transfers. Most importantly, we helped her understand that cleanliness and self-respect weren't tied to daily full-body washing. The transformation was remarkable. Within a month, Dorothy had resumed her social activities. She felt clean, safe, and confident. Her energy levels improved because she wasn't exhausting herself with daily bathroom navigation. Most telling was her comment during a follow-up visit. "Doctor, I feel like I got my life back. I didn't realize how much energy I was spending just trying to stay clean." So what does safe bathing look like for seniors? Based on decades of clinical experience and current research, here are my evidence-based recommendations. First, frequency matters more than duration. Full baths or showers should occur no more than every 2 to 3 days for most seniors. This allows the skin's natural protective barriers to regenerate while maintaining adequate hygiene. On non-bathing days, focus on washing hands, face, and genital areas, the regions where cleanliness truly impacts health. Second, water temperature is critical. The water should feel warm, not hot, to your elbow, roughly 98 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot water strips protective oils from aging skin and can trigger dangerous blood pressure fluctuations. If you're shivering when you get out, the water was too hot and your body is overcompensating. Third, timing and duration matter tremendously. Limit bathing sessions to 5 to 10 minutes maximum. The longer you're in hot water, the more your blood vessels dilate, and the greater the risk of orthostatic hypotension when you exit. Morning bathing is generally safer than evening bathing because your body's cardiovascular system is more stable earlier in the day. Fourth, environmental safety cannot be overlooked. Ensure your bathroom is warm before you begin bathing. Least 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Use non-slip mats both in the tub and on the bathroom floor. Install grab bars that are properly anchored to wall studs, not just drywall. Consider a shower chair or bath bench to eliminate the need for standing throughout the entire process. Fifth, the transition period is the most dangerous time. When exiting the bath or shower, move slowly and deliberately. Sit on the edge of the tub for 30 seconds before standing. Keep a towel and warm robe within easy reach. Never rush this transition. Most falls occur when seniors try to exit quickly. Sixth, choose your cleaning products carefully. Harsh soaps and antibacterial cleansers are unnecessary and harmful for senior skin. Use gentle, moisturizing cleansers and avoid scrubbing vigorously. Your goal is to remove dirt and odor, not to sterilize your skin. Follow bathing with a good moisturizer to help maintain skin integrity. The cultural shift required to embrace these recommendations isn't easy. We're asking seniors to abandon lifelong habits based on beliefs about cleanliness that are deeply ingrained. But the evidence is overwhelming. Less frequent, shorter, cooler baths with proper safety measures dramatically reduce the risk of injury while maintaining adequate hygiene. I often tell families that we need to think about bathing the way we think about exercise. More isn't always better, and intensity should be appropriate for your physical capabilities. A 30-year-old can handle daily hot showers the way they can handle running marathons. But asking an 80-year-old body to endure the same stress is both unrealistic and dangerous. The financial implications of bathroom injuries extend far beyond medical bills. When Martha Henderson broke her hip in her bathroom, the total cost of her care, emergency room, surgery, rehabilitation, home modifications, and ongoing assistance exceeded $127,000. Her insurance covered most of the medical expenses, but her family paid thousands in deductibles, co-pays, and home modifications. More importantly, Martha's injury forced her to sell her beloved home and move to assisted living, a transition that cost her family an additional $60,000 annually. These costs multiply across hundreds of thousands of families each year. The National Safety Council estimates that bathroom falls among seniors cost the healthcare system over $15 billion annually in direct medical expenses. Add in the indirect costs, lost independence, family caregiver time, home modifications, Institutional care and the total economic impact exceeds $50 billion per year. But these numbers, staggering as they are, pale in comparison to the human cost. Every bathroom fall represents a family thrown into crisis, a senior's independence shattered, a lifetime of accumulated dignity lost in a moment of vulnerability. I think about the conversation I had with Martha's daughter 3 months after the accident. "Dr. Caldwell," she said, tears streaming down her face, "Mom keeps asking when she can go home. She doesn't understand that home doesn't exist for her anymore. All because she wanted to take a bath." These tragedies are preventable, not through expensive medical interventions or complex treatments, but through simple changes in how we think about hygiene and safety in our later years. The solution doesn't require surrendering dignity or independence. It requires adapting our routines to match our body's changing capabilities. I've spent my career watching the intersection of aging, safety, and dignity play out in countless families. The seniors who age most successfully are those who embrace adaptability without sacrificing their sense of self. They understand that true independence isn't about maintaining every habit from their younger years. It's about making smart choices that preserve their ability to live safely in their own homes for as long as possible. Let me share one final story that encapsulates everything I want you to understand. Maria Santos, now 91, was one of my most stubborn patients when it came to bathing safety. She'd immigrated to the United States as a young woman and worked as a house cleaner for 40 years. For Maria, daily bathing wasn't just about hygiene, it was about honoring the work that had built her life, maintaining the standards that had earned her respect in her community. When I first suggested reducing her bathing frequency 5 years ago, she looked at me with the kind of fierce dignity that made me understand why she'd succeeded in a foreign country with limited English and unlimited determination. "Doctor," she said, her accent still thick after 60 years in America, "I clean houses my whole life. I know about clean. You telling me to be dirty?" It took months of patient conversation, family meetings, and gradual adjustments to help Maria understand that safety and cleanliness weren't mutually exclusive. We started with small changes: a shower chair, grab bars, slightly cooler water. Gradually, we extended the time between full baths, supplementing with wash-ups on alternate days. The breakthrough came when Maria's granddaughter, a nurse, showed her the statistics about bathroom falls. Suddenly, the issue wasn't about cleanliness, it was about being smart, about adapting to preserve what mattered most. "You know what, Doctor?" Maria told me during our last appointment before I retired. "I'm still clean, but now I'm also safe. And you know what else? I have more time for my garden, more time with my family. Maybe less bathing, more living. That's not so bad." Maria's transformation represents what's possible when we approach senior safety with respect, patience, and evidence-based recommendations. She didn't sacrifice her dignity or her standards. She adapted them to match her body's current needs. At 91, she's still living independently, still maintaining her home, still embodying the strength and wisdom that brought her family to this country decades ago. This is my message to every senior listening, every adult child worried about a parent, every family member trying to balance safety with respect. The goal isn't to prevent all risks or to control every aspect of aging. The goal is to make informed choices that allow our seniors to live as independently and safely as possible for as long as possible. Daily bathing for seniors isn't about hygiene, it's about habit, tradition, and identity. But when those habits become dangerous, when traditions threaten independence, when identity conflicts with safety, it's time to evolve. The seniors who thrive in their golden years are those who embrace evolution without losing their essence. If someone you love is over 70 and still bathing daily, please share this information with them. Have the conversation. It might be uncomfortable. At first, discussions about aging and vulnerability always are. But that discomfort is nothing compared to the devastation of a preventable bathroom fall. Your loved one's safety is worth more than any tradition. Their independence is more valuable than any habit. Their dignity is better preserved by making smart adaptations than by clinging to routines that no longer serve them. The bathroom doesn't have to be a danger zone. With the right knowledge, the right equipment, and the right approach, it can remain a place of comfort and self-care throughout our golden years. But only if we're willing to acknowledge that our bodies have changed and our habits must change with them. The choice is ours. We can continue the dangerous cycle of daily bathing that sends hundreds of thousands of seniors to emergency rooms each year. Or we can embrace evidence-based approaches that preserve both safety and dignity. We can cling to outdated notions of cleanliness that harm more than they help, or we can adopt modern understanding of senior physiology and bathroom safety. I've dedicated my life to caring for seniors, and I've learned that the greatest gift we can give our elderly loved ones isn't the preservation of every youthful habit, it's the wisdom to adapt gracefully, the courage to prioritize safety over tradition, and the support to maintain dignity while embracing necessary changes. The time for this conversation is now. Before the fall, before the injury, before the loss of independence. Your family story doesn't have to end like Martha's or begin with Harold's confusion or Dorothy's isolation. It can be like Maria's, a story of wisdom, adaptation, and continued independence well into the golden years. Please share this message with everyone you love who is over 70. Start the conversation today. Their safety, their independence, and their dignity may depend on it.